Current events? No, 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 not today. Today we're going back, way back to the 1970s, the mid-70s, 1977, 78. The place? Hollywood, California, and I must have been 16, maybe 17. I was making very good use of the fake ID that I had just gotten. You see, my brother-in-law's brother lent me his birth certificate. His name was Herbert, and he was black. Oh, how I miss what you were able to get away with back in those days before computers. At that time, the club scene in Los Angeles was really great. That's when Hollywood was still Hollywood and you'd bump into celebrities that you saw in movies and on television. Not only was Hollywood filled with real celebrities, but it had this group of people that were just these cool people, like club kids before club kids. Angeline with her very enhanced bosom and pink Cadillac. This guy called God, and he was part of Edie the Egg Lady's entourage. He was so gorgeous that the first time anybody ever saw him, they would have to say, "Oh my God," hence the name. Just like everybody else, I loved God, but my favorite was this woman from England called Teresa, a gorgeous English woman that wore nothing but Victorian gowns, and she always walked around with a parasol because she was very, very pale. I was obsessed with her. There was this club called The Veil. It was different than most clubs at the time because it was really nicely decorated, much smaller. It had proper bartenders and a beautiful swing in the middle of the place and a small platform stage. I don't know if it was a party that happened once a month on Wednesdays or it was something that happened every Wednesdays. I don't remember, but every time I would go, there would be Teresa on the swing with her parasol, swinging through the club. Very often the people that performed on that little tiny stage were just about to be famous. Not that we knew that at the time, but that's how it turned out. Before Culture Club and Boy George were anything, I remember seeing this person called Marilyn perform there. It turns out that she was Boy George's best friend. If I remember correctly, before the Go-Go's were the Go-Go's, I think I saw the Go-Go's there. Belinda was already pretty well known on the scene, and it wasn't for her singing. Anyway, I had my jaw wired shut a few weeks before because I was mugged and I was hit in the face with a pew-pew. When you're leaving the hospital after you've had your jaw wired shut, they give you pliers to cut the wires in case you get sick and vomit. I was dying to go out, so I convinced my friend Roy to carry the pliers so that we can go out. We went to the Veil, and it was a great night. It was busier than usual, and the people looked amazing. And of course, there was Teresa, swinging on the swing, up and down. The lights began to blink, and it was time for the show. On the stage was a very small man. His face beat, eyeliner, foundation, a little gloss. Short curly hair, longer on top, kind of high hair. I don't know if the high hair was because he was short and trying to compensate for that, but who knows. On his feet were ankle booties that had a pretty substantial heel, plus a long trench coat. He began playing the guitar that he had next to him and singing. Now people always talk about having it. Well, he had it. Nobody could take their eyes off of him, including me. I don't know if it was because I could tell he was a man, but he was very androgynous. Who was this freaking guy? So talented that nobody could take their eyes off of them. Everybody was transfixed. By that point, I noticed that the trench coat had opened up a little bit, and you could see his chest that had hair on it. I turned to my friend Roy and I asked him, "Do you think he's gonna flash us?" And Roy responded, "Looks like it, girl." It was about the end of the song, but he was still singing when he tugged on the belt and then opened up the trench coat wide. There he was on stage with his arms spread wide open, holding each side of the trench coat wide open. The place went up. Girl, anaconda boots. That beast's only restraint was a tiny G-string made out of fishnet. I don't know why, but him flashing us, even in this wild, crazy club that you could see anything, this seemed to be so outrageous. Once the applause had died down a little and we all gained our composure a little, a voice, not his voice, came from a speaker, said, "Ladies and gentlemen, wasn't he incredible? Put your hands together one more time for Prince." His album came out shortly after that and he became very famous. And every time someone told me he was a Jehovah's Witness, I would tell them the story about him ripping open that trench coat.